Welcome into 20 Minutes to Overtime with your host, Jordan Smith. I hope you guys like the new setup. If you've been following along, I am changing a lot of things around here. First off, I'm going more digital instead of the old school look at the TV screens. If you haven't already, I'm sure you're watching this on YouTube because that's probably the only platform I posted it on. But give it a subscribe, turn on notifications if you're a big hockey fan. The new format is going to be talking about hockey lines, hockey gambling. I haven't decided if this is for sure the format I'm going to stick with, but for the time being, it's what I'm good at. I'm a good sports handicapper, so follow along before you make those pro line tickets, and I'm sure I can give you some pretty good advice. I do pretty well. Yeah, give me a follow on YouTube. Give me a follow on Instagram. Much appreciated. I don't actually have the podcast going quite yet, but I hope to have it going soon. So, to get started, we're just going to dive in. There's 7 games on the slate today, and we'll take a look at the board. We have Columbus at Tampa Bay. Game 1, the over-under is 5.5. Tampa is a heavy favorite. We have the Detroit Red Wings versus the Florida Panthers. Again, Florida Panthers, a heavy favorite against Detroit. Over-under is 5.5. Edmonton Oilers taking on the Montreal Canadiens. Edmonton playing a back-to-back against Montreal tonight. Koskinen probably in net. Over-under is 6. New Jersey Devils visiting Boston at the Garden. The over-under is 5.5, and New Jersey is a very heavy underdog. Washington and New York, pretty 50-50 game. Over-under is 6 for that guy. Carolina visiting Chicago. Carolina favorite in this one, and the over-under is 6. And the last game of the night will be Dallas and Nashville, the late game. And it's a pretty 50-50 game. The over-under for that one's 5.5. So before I usually make my picks, I start by I go on to my Bet365, which is the sports website I use. Some of you guys use Proline or Bodog or Betway. And I just go with my gut feeling. So today I go to my gut check, right? I just pick the games I like, click on what I like. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily betting it, but gut check. So I like in the Columbus game, I liked over 5.5 goals at first sight. Detroit and Florida wasn't much appealing to me in this game. Edmonton and Montreal, I liked over 6 goals in that game. New Jersey versus Boston, I thought New Jersey was, not getting enough respect. They are coming off a 1-0 defeat they just beat Boston 1-0. I think the over-under at 5.5 is fair to take the under. And quite frankly, New Jersey's just getting a lot of points with 2.7 odds. So my gut feeling was New Jersey and the under. Washington and the Rangers, I didn't love this game, but I thought maybe the under 6 if Shesterkin was playing. And Washington usually has pretty good goaltending. The gut feeling on Carolina and Chicago, I didn't really have one. This is a tough game to predict. I think Carolina's going to win the game. I'm just not sure if the odds are good enough that I want to take them at 1.64. The over-under at 6 seems pretty fair, to be honest. Good chance that pushes. I just see a game like 2-3, 3-3 going into OT, something like that. Dallas and Nashville. My first thought was Dallas is underdog. I didn't think Nashville was playing too well. So my first thought, my gut feeling was to take Dallas on the money line. Like I said, this is all just gut feeling. I usually just select a few things and then I dive into the research and start going more into my picks. So we'll start. I'll just dive in. We got 7 games to talk about. I'm going to talk about each game individually, what I like, what I don't like, what you should stay away from. We'll start with Tampa Bay and Columbus. So the season series, they've only played twice. It's 1-1. But you can look back at last playoffs since it was soon, only a couple months ago. Tampa did beat them 4-1, but all the games are 1-goal games. Columbus usually does play Tampa pretty tough. But Columbus is on a pretty bad streak right now. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Laine's not getting it done. Their top line's not getting it done. Korpisalo and Merzlikins just letting in too many goals. Tampa, again, their last 10, they're 6-4. So I like Tampa in this game, but Columbus plays them hard. The over/under. I said I like the over as my gut feeling. I still like the over. I think all the trends point to this being an over game. Um, I figured Vasilevsky would be starting, but turns out that Tampa's rolling out their backup goalie, Curtis McElhinney. So I think Tampa can put up 3 or 4 goals on Columbus. And if Columbus offense needs to get going, which John Torts is going to be on their ass, I'm sure that Columbus is going to put up a few goals. I like the over 5.5 in this game. When we look at the trends, Columbus is on a 4-game losing streak. Tampa's on a 2-game losing streak. So both teams are going to come out feisty. Like I said, they play in a lot of 1-goal games. You can expect a lot of hits being thrown. It's going to be a tight game. Tampa's 9-3-1 their last 13 games, so they're heating up. Vazzy was on a 12-game win streak at one point, but like I said, Curtis McElhinney will be the starter in net for Tampa Bay most likely tonight. And Columbus is 4-0-2 as a road. The under and for Columbus is 4-0-2 as a road underdog. So that trend doesn't necessarily favor the over pick in this game. I do like the over. When you look at player props, nothing that really I got excited about. Hedman assist, usually good to hit. The odds just weren't there. Power play points. Both teams, their power plays have been okay lately, but again, the odds just aren't worth betting on. If you are a betting man, I think Tampa Bay wins this game, but if you want the winner, I think it's Tampa Bay. But if you want the value pick, Columbus is getting almost 3-1 on this game to win. Like I said, they play tight games against Tampa Bay. So I don't hate it if you take the money line on Columbus. And the plus 1.5, obviously that looks pretty good considering how tight Columbus played. They played 5 games in the playoffs last year, albeit playoff hockey, all 1-goal games. So over 5.5 for me in this game. Stay away from most other things unless you're throwing Tampa Bay on a money line parlay. The odds just aren't that good. The value pick is Columbus in this one. Next game we'll talk about is the second game, another game down in Florida. We have the Detroit Red Wings going down south to Florida. The season series is 2 wins for Detroit, 4 for Florida. So they've played 6 games. We can see what they've been doing lately. Detroit is heating up a bit. Last 10, 5-5. That's actually pretty good for Detroit, seeing how they started the season so horribly. Florida's last 10, they're 6-4. The over/under, pretty wishy-washy. 3-5-2 for Detroit. Florida, they've hit the over 4 times, under 5 times. Hard to say how many goals can be scored in this game. Aaron Ekblad done for the season with a broken leg. Alexander Barkov is ruled out. Can't remember who the starting goalies are. I'm not sure if Detroit confirmed theirs, and I assume Bobrovsky will be in net for Florida. I like Florida in this game. I think they take care of business, but for me, this is mostly a stay away because of those injuries, and we're not sure exactly how Florida is going to play. They're missing their top centerman and their top D-men. When we do look at the trends, Detroit's on a 2-game winning streak. Florida's on a 2-game winning streak. So both teams are heating up. Funny one I found here was Detroit is 8-43 their last 51 road games. That's how tough a time Detroit's had this season and last season. They're not good on the road, so that sign just points to take Florida on a parlay. But I don't know about that because Detroit, like I said, 2-game win streak, I'm not sure. The under is 6-1 in their last 7 meetings. But Vegas knows that. I mean, I'm not sure what their over/under was in the past, but it's only 5.5 for this game. So I'm not particularly fond of either play. I think both teams can put up a few goals. Florida at least 1 power play goal in 4 of their last 5 games. So when you do dive into the power play odds, I don't hate taking a Florida guy, but with all the uncertainty without Barkov and Ekblad, I'm not actually sure. Maybe Keith Yandel if you can get him for a power play point. Third game of the night is Edmonton and Montreal. So season series, they just had 3 games canceled. So they've played 3 games. Edmonton took one of them, and Montreal's taken the other 2. Edmonton's heating up though. 7-3 their last 10. They did just play last night. Montreal, they've had enough time off because of COVID. First COVID outbreak in the North Division. And they're sitting at 4-6 their last 10 with a bunch of days off. So we're not too sure how Montreal is going to come out this game. The over/under, both teams 5-4-1 the last 10 games. So Vegas is pretty spot on with the over/under. Edmonton did play in a overtime game last night, so that could bring out some wear and tear. Mike Smith won't be in net tonight. It will be Mikko Koskinen, so expect a few easy goals possibly on Montreal's side. The trends: Edmonton's 12-2 their last 14 days on zero rest. That's McDavid and Draisaitl. Those guys have an unlimited engine and they just go, go, go. But very surprising stat, I thought. If you're going to, go at Edmonton because of the back-to-back, maybe not the best idea. The under is 4-0 the last 4 meetings. So I think the under is most likely the play in this game. The line is set at 6. So a 3-2 game looks good for you. 3-3 not so good. 4-2 you're looking at a push. Not sure how I feel. It's always scary betting the over/under when you have McDavid and Draisaitl. McDavid assists in 10 of his last 11 games. He's good for an assist every game. You can get him at 1.43 odds, I found, on most sites to get an assist. If you want to take a chance, throw $100 at it. It's an easy $40, but you kind of feel dumb when it doesn't hit. Montreal is 4-9 on the power play the last 4 games. So their power play is pretty good right now. It is going to be on a little bit of a break, but I do like the odds that you're getting. You're getting 4.3 for all their starting power play guys like Nick Suzuki, Shea Weber, Thomas Tatar. I think I'd put my money down on Nick Suzuki. I don't hate taking the D-men in this. Jeff Petry's always a good call, but you're getting over 4-1 on Montreal to get a power play goal. Now, Edmonton's depth isn't that good. They usually not the most disciplined team. They give up some easy penalties. So I like the power play goal by Montreal in this game. If you want to take a player of your choice, that's probably my pick. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of the money line. It's just hard to say what's Montreal going to look like. They've had a bunch of days off. Edmonton's coming off a big win against Toronto. That's what we got for that game. New Jersey at Boston. So this one's a pretty shocking season series because New Jersey actually leads at 4-1. New Jersey's 5-5. Their last 10. They're probably one of the worst teams outside of Buffalo in their division in the East. Boston last 10, 4-6. They haven't been too good, and quite frankly, they just can't score goals. New Jersey. These teams love the under. New Jersey's last 10. They're 2-8. Boston's 1-9. So how do you not take the under? I mean, the odds aren't great. You're getting 1.74. I think those odds will even go down. The line could easily move to 5. They have played in all 5 of their games this year. I think all 5 hit the under. So the under is the easy play, but the odds aren't particularly great. The other play is just New Jersey money line. If New Jersey's 4-1, why are they getting almost 3-1 on this game? Doesn't make much sense to me. I do think Marchand is back this game. He's missed the last few, and that's big for Boston. They haven't been scoring goals. They've been shut out twice in a row by New Jersey. I think Boston gets it done at TD Garden, and they take care of business this game. The odds just don't make any sense to bet the Boston money line, though. But Boston will get it done. But like I said, nothing adds up, the trends. New Jersey's won 4 in a row against Boston. They've shut them out the last 2. 6 straight 1-goal games in head-to-head. So maybe you take New Jersey plus 1.5. But then if you go back further than last year, New Jersey's 5-14 their last 19 meetings at Boston. So they don't do too well in TD Garden. But clearly, like you can see, the under hits. They usually play in tight games, and more than likely, they're going to be less than 6 goals. You can expect a 2-2 kind of game, a 3-2 kind of game. Probably won't see another couple shutouts like the last 2 games New Jersey and Boston played. What was my pick for that? I didn't really have one. I think New Jersey's good value, and under 5.5 goals is looking like an easy pick. Washington at the Rangers next game. Washington, one of the hottest teams in the NHL. The season series is 2-3. Hottest team in the NHL, 9-1 their last 10. New York's 5-5, couple easy wins the other night against Philadelphia. The over/under, Vegas is hitting these teams spot on, 5-4-1, 5-5. Expect some goals to be scored, but Also, Igor Shesterkin in net for the Rangers. This guy can steal a game. He can just let nothing easy in. So expect Washington to have trouble scoring. I'm not sure what the play is for this one. It's a dead even game, 1.9 on the money line, both sides. It looks like taking Washington money line is the right call, just because they're one of the hottest teams in the NHL. 9-1 in their last 10. That one loss did come against the Rangers though. And as one of the hottest teams in the NHL, they don't have a power play goal in the last 5 games. So is special teams going to be the big factor in this game? New York is just heating up on the power play. They have 7 power play goals in the last 4 games. A bunch of those did come against the Philadelphia Flyers when they put up an 8-goal game against them. Washington's 4-0 their last 4 road games, so all signs pointing to Washington money line. And the unders 4-1 the last 5 games head to head. The over-under is set at 6, so I don't hate the over-under. If you take the over, sure, like Washington can score a bunch of goals. The under, I don't feel safe taking because you just saw New York put up 8 goals the other night against Philly. They're having a couple high-scoring games. Some good goalies in net. Not sure who's starting for Boston, but I don't love taking the over against Igor Shesterkin. For me, this game's probably a stay away, but Washington moneyline looks like the safest bet. Second last game, we have Carolina at Chicago. Season series 2-1 for Carolina. Carolina's last 10 on the money line, 7-3. Chicago's the opposite, 3-7. Chicago overperforming this year, so can they keep it rolling? Both teams are hitting the under way more than they're hitting the over. They've hit the over just 5 times out of the last 20 games between the two teams. Other than that, mostly hitting the under or pushing. The over-under on this game is 6 goals. I expect goals to be scored, though. Carolina can put up goals, but they play really good defense. The Chicago power play is no joke, and that first line with DeBrincat and Patrick Kane is just going off right now. Patrick Kane's one of the leading scorers in the NHL. Expect goals to be scored in this game. The trends don't necessarily say take the over, but I don't think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Carolina's on a 3-game winning streak. Chicago, the under's 5-0-1 the last 6. So that's mostly because Chicago's not scoring a bunch of goals right now. It's really if their first line's not getting goals. That's all they're getting. They're not getting much out of their depth. Carolina's 7-1 their last 8 meetings. I like Carolina in this game, but I'm staying away from the money line. I'm going to bet something else. I'm going to take Dougie Hamilton assist tonight. Dougie Hamilton has a 14-game point streak. Albeit he doesn't have an assist in all those games because he's got a couple goals along the way. But this guy's on fire right now. I do expect goals to be scored in this game. I think you can get a Dougie Hamilton assist at 1.8 odds. That's better than taking Carolina at 1.64. If Carolina wins this game, it's because they're going to score a few goals. Alex Nedeljkovic versus Kevin Lankinen. To a regular hockey fan, you probably don't even know those names. I like the over in this game, and I like a Dougie Hamilton assist. Last game of the night and the only late game going on tonight is Dallas at Nashville. So season series is 2-2. Dallas last 10 on the money line, 3-7. Dallas isn't doing too hot right now. Nashville is heating up. They're 7-3 their last 10. Over-under, couple low-scoring games for Nashville. Dallas is hitting some more high-scoring games. I like the odds on this. My gut feeling was to take Dallas, but then you look into the stats, do the research, and nothing really adds up to Dallas being the team to take in this game. Where Nashville, 7-3 their last 10, they're heating up. Over-under's probably a stay away. I'm not sure who's starting in net for Nashville. I believe Jussi Saros is injured, so we might see Pekka Rinne. He can be pretty hit or miss, whether he lets in 3 goals or not. And Anton Khudobin will be starting for Dallas. So, couple goals to be scored. I like Jake Ottinger a bit more than Anton Khudobin. So, what's the play? Well, when we look at the trends, Dallas on a 2-game losing streak. Nashville's on a 5-game winning streak. This completely flipped my mind. When I researched this game, my gut feeling was on Dallas money line. I have flipped. It's a Nashville game. Nashville's at home. I think Nashville gets the job done. The under's 7-1-2 their last 10 meetings, so you can't expect a low-scoring game. Okay, so expect a low-scoring game since the under is 7-1-2 the last 10 meetings at Nashville. In a low-scoring game, it's kind of anyone's game. The line has moved. Nashville's getting 2-1 online right now. I'm gonna take the Nashville money line, but I'm going against my gut feeling here. My gut feeling was to take Dallas. Again, Nashville penalty kill. They've only let in one power play goal their last 8 games out of 25 attempts. So that's tough for Dallas to score, and with all the injuries Dallas is facing, it's going to be hard. Okay, so let's summarize my picks here. These are the picks that I'm betting, but I gave out more than that. There's a lot of things I like, and I could always change my mind. You always got to pay attention to live betting as well if you're doing it online. I hope you're not making pro lines. Online is just way better. My picks, I'm taking Columbus and Tampa Bay over 5.5 goals. Pretty even odds, 1.95. Like I said, rather than take Carolina against Chicago, I'm just going to take that Carolina scores 2 or 3 goals, which means Dougie Hamilton has a good chance of getting an assist. He's in on almost every goal these days with a 14-game point streak. I'm taking Dougie Hamilton assist at 1.83. My mind flipped on Dallas. All the research and stats it's just reading into Nashville, even with the line moving up to 2-1. I think Nashville's the play here in this game. I'm going to take Nashville at home against Dallas. You're getting 2-1 on that. And then, like I said, Montreal, I think they're going to score a power play goal tonight. That's a gut feeling check. You're not throwing your bank account on that kind of pick because you are getting 4.3-1. The decision, though, is who to take, right? Not, 5 guys on the top power play line. I believe Nick Suzuki's got 14 power play points on the year. I'm going to take Nick Suzuki in this one. He's getting over 4-1 odds, and I have no faith in Mikko Koskinen to not let in goals. So those are my picks tonight. Comment down below what your picks are. We can see I'm going to go 4 for 4. Hopefully you ride some of my picks with me. If not, just let me know who you guys pick. That's not all, though. I am going to talk a little bit about puck lines, because I didn't mention puck lines too much, so I figured I'd do a quick little take on why I don't necessarily bet puck lines all the time. Puck lines are not too favorable. I'm going to show you some stats right here. When a team is favorited, they get a puck line of -1.5. That -1.5 is only hitting 37% of the time, but usually you're not getting 3-1 odds on that. If a team's favorited like Tampa Bay tonight, you're getting 2.7 on them to win the puck line. Teams obviously hit the +1.5 more at 63% of the time. Some of the most profitable teams in the league are hitting that +1.5. +1.5 in hockey is a weird bet, though. I don't normally bet it. I hate the fact that your goalie is not in the net if you're down by a goal at the end of the game. So your +1.5 looks good with 2 minutes left, but then there's no goalie in your net. So pretty easy for a team to go down the ice and score an empty net goal. I do like, on occasion, taking the -1.5. I don't usually play +1.5. If you guys play +1.5, I'd love to hear how that works out for you. I've never really got too much into it. Like I said, the puck line, I didn't explain what it actually is, but if you're watching this, and you're through 20 minutes, you probably have gambled before in your life. So a -1.5 means the team has to win by 2 goals. +1.5 means the game goes to overtime, or the team wins or loses by at least 1 goal. So like I said, I mentioned Columbus. I don't know if I would take Columbus money line tonight. They're not so hot, but the +1.5 looks really good considering it would have hit in all 5 of the games they played against Tampa in the playoffs last year. Okay, so let me know in the comments below if you take the puck line or the +1.5. Sometimes if you go to the underdog and then you go take the underdog at -1.5, you get some sweet odds. But hopefully in the future I have some more of those picks for you. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.